Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to EF's new office in San Francisco. I hope that we can squeeze you in. There are plenty of chairs. Well, not plenty. If you run, there are some chairs on this side of the stage. If you would like to sit down for the next couple of hours, I would encourage you to head to this side of the room. I'm Alice. I'm CEO and co-founder of EF. And to kick off, I'm joined by a man who needs no introduction, Vinod Khosla. We asked Vinod to come and speak because we've now done 9 co-investments with Khosla Ventures. I really see Vinod, as one of the best founders and investors in not just in the Bay Area, in the world. And Vinod very kindly agreed to come and speak and to talk for the next 20 minutes or so about some of his learnings in venture capital and some of his views on AI dystopia or utopia. So we were actually just chatting beforehand, and I was saying how quickly the founders were getting offers post-demo day and how crazy the market seems right now. And you sort of paused and stopped and say, speed, is that necessarily what founders should be optimizing for?
I said that's a bad idea.
You said it was a bad idea. Tell us, how do you think about how founders should select investors and where speed might fit in that stack rank?
So from my point of view, just because somebody's rushing to give you money doesn't mean you want to take it. In fact, it's counterindicative. If they haven't asked you hard questions to make you think about your startup, maybe even change some parts of your strategy or evolve it, they're not going to be the long-term partner you need. To all the investors here, I'd say the same thing. Focus on what you can add to a company, not money. So whether it's seed or A investing, it's not about the money. You're getting a partner you can't fire. It's the only employee you get who you can't fire for a long time. And so you want to get the most out of an investor. And if they aren't making you think hard about your business, ask questions that make you maybe change your strategy, maybe squirm a little bit. Those are the questions you want. The sooner you discover the hard questions in your startup area, the better you will be to address them. And that's what you want, not the first investor to give a check. Because if people aren't thoughtful and just want to throw money at what they think might be hot, they are definitely the wrong partner for you.
Yeah. So let's go back.
I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it's obvious once I say it this way.
Well, I mean, we're very lucky at EF that the founders that you see today, we've known some of them for years, and we've worked with all of them day in, day out in the same office. We've got a co-working space upstairs, day in, day out for the last 6 months. So, I mean, in many ways, we're the slowest investors in the world because we get to spend so much time with these founders before we actually put capital behind them. Let's talk about, so EF, when we first start working with someone, we start working them at the point where they're considering founding a company. It's pre-company, pre-team, sometimes even pre-idea. And so really what we're looking for are founder behaviors. You've seen so many of the world's best founders over a long period of time. What are the founder behaviors that you think are most important? How do you identify them at the very early stage, and what are they?
So before I answer that question, let me ask this audience a question. What do you think I look for the most in a situation like this, where a founder is working with you for 6 months or whatever? What do you think is the single biggest question for me on the founder? Anybody hazard a guess? It's not how much expertise they have, what their degrees are, not even the market they're going after. So what do you think it is? How many times have you disagreed? The question I ask is of the partner at the EF or whoever's incubating a thing, how much have they changed during that incubation period? How much have they evolved their thinking? Because no founder gets their plans right. Occasionally they get lucky, but 95% of the time, they never get their plans right. So if somebody's evolving their strategy and learning quickly and running the experiments to get better very quickly in what they're trying to do, it's the single biggest incubator, whether it's EF or YC. I ask the partner involved, how much have they changed? How much have they evolved during this short period? And you can tell in 3 or 6 months how good a founder will be at continuing to evolve their plan and go after the right opportunities.
I love this. So as you may know, we build co-founding teams from scratch, and we train our team to try and understand which teams are flying, which should maybe try and find different co-founders. And
By the way, this is the exact complementary thing of who rushes you a term sheet. It's who asks the questions that make your business plan better.
Yeah.
Or find its vulnerabilities before the market finds them.
Yeah, and so we find the teams that should stay together are the ones that every time you meet them, they tell you something surprising and new because their learning speed is just so fast. Seed is getting quite crazy right now. I suppose one of the other shifts that we're seeing is that founders are getting more and more excited about the idea of how much revenue can you produce on the smallest possible number of employees. What does this mean for seed investors? How should seed investors think about the market shifting as it becomes easier and cheaper than ever to build a startup and very quickly get to revenue?
Yeah, that's another bad metric to use. So I use metrics that are exactly the opposite. It's what have you done to test your market? To the extent it is discovering something about the market by getting customer traction, that's important. And that's part of iterating what your product is. It's not revenue, it's how are people perceiving the product. But even more important, I always tell good founders starts with today saying in 2030, and those of you who worked with me, that's the first question I ask. What do you want to be in 2030? And if you don't have a clear idea, you don't know what you're steering towards. And every turn or twist you make will be short term. It'll be optimizing for what's next, not where you're trying to go. Once you decide where you're trying to go by 2030, you can then decide to do optimizations of all sorts. And give you my favorite analogy for founders. Be obstinate about your vision, which is, hey, I want to climb Mount Everest, this particular hill. Be really flexible about your tactics as the world evolves. But that does not mean you chase the most revenue. And the way I explain it, if you're going to Mount Everest, nobody ever got to the top of Mount Everest before getting to base camp first. And then Camp 1, and then Camp 2, Camp 3, Camp 4, and then the ascent to the peak. And none of it is in a straight line. You can get to a higher elevation than base camp without getting to base camp, and that's like chasing revenue so you can get to someplace. But if that someplace doesn't build assets for getting to the right target, the Mount Everest, the peak you've defined, it's not going to help you. And people get stuck in those segments. And if it takes building certain assets before you even start getting revenue, then that's a better strategy than ARR. So one has to be really thoughtful about how to get where one's going, how to get there, what's the easiest path, what is base camp and all the camps along the way, not what's the highest revenue, which may be a higher peak in the neighborhood of base camp. And suddenly you're stuck up there on a lonely peak in an isolated island, and suddenly that revenue doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So be very, very thoughtful. And that's the other thing. Don't chase what investors as entrepreneurs, don't chase what investors tell you to chase, because they have lots of companies to invest in. You have one bet as an entrepreneur. And you have to be much more thoughtful. You can't spray and pray.
Let's go back to this idea of where will you be by 2030, but for the investors in the room, you've said that AI will be able to do 80% of the work of 80% of the jobs. What does that mean if you're an early stage VC? Should you be leaning into AI and automating parts of your workflow? Or is this where taste and craft suddenly becomes even more important? How do you think about that?
How many saw a press release or press article by Anthropic yesterday that said by next year there will be AI worker or something like that, right? How many saw that piece? So what AI is capable of in the near term is much more than most of you expect, maybe all of you expect. How to get it deployed is a much harder question. So capability will be there much faster than we imagine. And I think, I originally used to say 2030. I think I was way too conservative. I think in the next 2 or 3 years, AI will be capable of every single job humans do, and most of it. Now, some things have regulatory constraints in AI interventional medicine doing cardiac surgery. The FDA won't let that happen, so there's regulatory and other constraints in certain markets. But the capability to develop any capability that humans are capable of doing will be there by the end of next year. That's pretty soon. So your opportunity is then to say, what do we back to deploy it? And we have two worlds that are going to collide. The world of AI capability that Anthropic was talking about, Sam says the same thing. I've talked to Larry Page a week and a half ago. Same thing, like nobody understands where this is going. It's so radical. How many have read the paper, Situational Awareness? A few hands. Everybody should read it. So there's this world where the capability to do almost anything is now possible. And I think somebody in the next 2 years will start a company, a startup, which with 10 employees will reach $1 billion in revenue. That will happen very soon. Who does it when? I don't have a target in mind, so I'm looking. But that's an ambitious target. 10 employees, $1 billion in revenue, the math just almost always works. So there's this world of AI is accelerating, and the reason it's accelerating, and let me try and explain that too. We've had a lot of progress. We invested in OpenAI in 2018, long before this was a word, and people were hung up on, is it a for-profit, non-profit, what's the product? I said, doesn't matter, AI will be big enough where if it works, it's going to be huge, and you won't care about timeline, when it happens, how it happens, it'll be big enough. That thesis has proven correct. The ChatGPT was released in December of 22, so just over 2 years ago. It's only 2 years ago. And we will see more progress by the end of next year than we saw in the last 2 years. Much more progress. For the following reason. Most of the scientists developing AI will be AI scientists. So AI scientists coming up with new hypotheses on how to do X or Y. And then testing it. So suddenly OpenAI may have 10 times or 100 times the number of scientists that they have today. And that means an acceleration. Google will do the same thing, and Anthropic will do the same thing. So that's why the rate of progress will accelerate. And then on the other side, you take corporate America, and I believe they're mostly rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. So they're saying, how do I optimize efficiency on this function with some AI thing, and very proud of what they can report to their board about how they're using AI. And that's happening in every boardroom. Every board meeting, there's talk on, these are big corporations, on how we are using AI. So there's these two worlds that are going to collide. One's about deployment, the one's about others about capability. How this intersection happens, I don't think me or anybody else can predict. It'll be very chaotic, but we're due for massive change. My bet is by 2030, there'll be half a dozen companies that are just starting or started that'll be worth $100 billion. That's the size of the opportunity. Clearly, the best software engineer startup will be worth $100 billion. Whether it's Cognition or Cursor or somebody else or Replit or something. Hard to tell. In fact, very likely there'll be more than one. I could go down the line of other areas where you could create $100 billion companies, but we probably don't have enough time today.
Well, I suppose, what's the market that you think is underrated or undervalued at the moment?
I think as much excitement as there is about robotics is grossly undervalued. So how many saw a talk I gave at TED last year, and there's a video of it called Plausible Tomorrows? Only a few hands. I have a dozen predictions of how radically different the planet will be in 20 years or so. Radically different. I believe we can eliminate most cars in most cities. And there's not a person who's argued why that's not possible. Now, if that's true, then the auto industry is toast, not only because of electric cars, which they aren't moving very fast on. The Chinese are. Elon is, but he's distracted. The Chinese BYD completely beating everybody's, I won't use an impolite word, ass, in Europe right now and most of the world. They have 2-year, 18-month to 2-year design cycles for the European car manufacturers. The American ones have 5 to 7-year design cycles. So the auto industry may be in trouble. But the bigger opportunity, I believe, the bipedal robot industry by 2040, it's only 15 years. Startups do struggle for 5-7 years and then accelerate, will be larger than the auto industry is today. That's a radical assumption. Nobody believes me. So you can look at any of the 13 or 12, 13 predictions I've made in this video called Plausible Tomorrows. Each one is a $1 trillion opportunity. And so one of my forecasts is all expertise will be free. And I do a lot of talking to healthcare boards now. And say, if by 2030 you could cut, and it's an industry that survives on razor-thin margins because nobody has any advantage. And I say, if all expertise is free, you have free oncologists and free primary care doctors and free, in oncology, we're doing a startup with an EF startup called Radical. All of this expertise, primary care doctors, mental health therapists, oncologists, structural engineers, accountants, chip designers, they will all be free expertise. So what I talked about in a situation like AI scientists doing AI development of models, that'll happen in every area, just a little bit slower. But we are working in all those areas. If any of you have things you're doing in that area, whether it's a material science researcher or a scientist in biology or medicine, we are doing every skill. And I think that will happen very, very quickly. And then the question will be, from a business model, how to apply it. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about the deployment of these technologies, how you accelerate deployment, because the traditional infrastructure is going to be very slow. The American Medical Association, which is a union, will not let AI do anything because it takes away their fees. They get paid for a primary care visit. If you could do it with an AI, why would they let you do it? And they get to control what is medical advice and what isn't. So lots of obstacles in the way. There's a half a dozen reasons why this may not happen. But I look on I'm an optimist. I look on the number of opportunities we have for entrepreneurs and investors. It's pretty exciting. I get excited like I was 16.
Well, and you've written this great piece about AI dystopia or utopia. And I think a nice kind of piece for us to end on is you have a vision for this kind of world of abundance that is going to be created by AI. What is that going to look like? Why does it make you excited like a 16-year-old?
So my general thesis is the following. The next 5 years, between now and 2030, it will look, so in 2016, I wrote a long blog. This was 2016, so before sort of OpenAI. It was called AI Will Cause Great Abundance great productivity growth, great GDP growth, everything economists love, and increasing income disparity was the tagline. I truly believe that. In the next 5 years will look like the first part of this cycle that I defined in 2016. It'll be like productivity improvements in every corporation. They can do more with fewer employees, and so it looks like productivity gains in industry. It'll start slowly, it'll accelerate. The 2030s will be massive disruption as politics starts to play a larger and larger role in terms of employment displacement. By then, it'll be clear every single job can be replaced. Maybe there's exceptions like heart surgery, like I mentioned before, a certain interventional medicine. There'll be a few, but mostly, and I think 80% of jobs was a too conservative estimate. I'll take that back now. I'll say 90% of jobs, or 95% of 95% of jobs. That's massive societal dislocation. If most of the jobs in this country have to be replaced with something, I don't know how society reacts, how politics reacts. Democracy is by permission of, capitalism is by permission of democracy, and democracy reacts to personal local interests, as we've seen. So it's going to be very chaotic in the 2030s. I can't predict exactly how this will play out. It'll vary dramatically by country, dramatically by industry. You know, if you have a BPO business, you cut out the BPO, and you don't care whether the employee is in the Philippines or India, right? But if it's local employees that vote and go on strike, and we saw that with the Screen Actors Guild, we'll see that kind of phenomena. So 2030s will be very chaotic with so much dislocation. By the way, while GDP growth is accelerating, I do believe we'll get to much, much higher GDP growth than we are seeing today, because you'll produce more goods and services faster, which is what GDP is, but with no labor. And so my bet is it'll be a hugely deflationary economy in the 2030s. At the macroeconomic level, lots of employment. Maybe by 2040, $10,000 buys more than $100,000 buys today. That's pretty disruptive. So people always say, where will people get money? We will have enough abundance. And then in the 2040s, going towards 2050, I think we will have more than enough, and people will have settled down where there's all the basic needs are taken care of. Taxes will be higher, but nobody will care.
Sounds like a good note to end on. Vinod, I'm loath to stop this, but we need to get on with the pitches. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, everybody.
A massive thank you to Vinod for joining us this afternoon. So as I said, I'm Alice. I'm the CEO and co-founder of EF, and I'm going to be your host for this afternoon. So this afternoon, we have 32 teams coming to pitch. We'll have a little break in the middle, and I think you're going to be delighted by what you see. We've got teams working in almost every industry you can imagine. And as you may know, EF does things a little bit differently. We like to go after individuals before they have a team, before they have a company, and often before they even have an idea. We have a team of 100 people who search the globe for the very best potential founders. And we now bring them here to the US to build their companies for the US from day one. We're going to have short pitches, 2 minutes each, and then we will break, and you'll have the opportunity to meet the teams and get to know them a little bit. As Vinod said, ask them lots of hard questions. They're going to be used to that, having been through EF. It's worth remembering that the teams that you see here today, the companies are very early. They joined us 6 months ago, and we've been working with them day in, day out since they joined us. If there's any way that we can help you with your decision-making process, do let me or one of the many EF team members who are in the room know. We're happy to help you understand what it's been like working with these teams and help you navigate the batch. Now we're going to get started. Oh, actually, I think I do need to do a quick safety announcement. Exit is there. there, and there's one that way as well. So if anything goes wrong, run as fast as you can to one of those exits. We do have bathrooms behind the stage and bathrooms upstairs as well, alongside a mother's room. And you should have all got an email in your inbox. The email has, if you registered, if you managed to sneak in without registering, put your hand out and we'll kick you out. If you registered at the door, you should have an email that has a link to the EF Demo Day portal. This has details of all the sites, all the companies, their contact details, and their pitch decks. So if you want to browse that as the pitches are going on, go into your inbox and you should have it there. If you don't get it, ping me. You have 1 million emails from me in your inbox. Ping me and I will make sure that the link gets sent to you. We are going to kick off with our first company, which is Delfa. Now, Tom is going to be on stage pitching, but I thought it was worth mentioning Gustav, who was the CTO of Delfa. We first met Gustav in 2022 when he was still in the middle of his PhD at ETH Zurich. We thought he was absolutely fantastic, and we're delighted when we finally got him to join EF, where he met Tom. Let's bring Tom onto the stage. Give him a warm welcome. Tom from Delfa.
There are 4 times as many drug candidates as there are clinical trials started each year. And the root cause? Patient recruitment. That's right, patient recruitment. Clinical trial sites are criminally understaffed and desperate for help. One of our customers told me, without Delfa, she would have had to hire 10 more skilled patient recruiters. Over the course of a week, our AI agents helped her site to achieve 125% of their patient recruitment goal. With 80% of all clinical trials being delayed because of patient recruitment, this is simply unheard of. At Delfa, we build AI agents to automate clinical trials, starting with patient recruitment. In the past 8 weeks, we've closed $200,000 in contracted revenue. We're live on 14 clinical trials, and we're beating our competition, deploying 5 times faster and fully integrating into their production systems. I'm Tom. I've built and scaled AI product teams from nothing to millions of dollars in revenue, deploying mission-critical AI for life science leaders like Johnson & Johnson, Medtronic, and Exscientia. My co-founder, Gustav, who you heard a little bit about before, has a PhD from ETH Zurich in medical AI. He's built first-of-a-kind foundation models at Roche and has 10 peer-reviewed papers in this field. I want you all to imagine a world where the next billion-dollar drug isn't stuck in a queue. Delfa is creating that world right now. Thank you.
Our next CEO, Seema, we've been working with for the last year to help her find the right team and the right idea. Now, you may be thinking, these two look quite similar, but I'll leave her to explain. She's a force of nature. Let's welcome Seema to the stage.
In the last 12 months, people in this room have invested over $1 billion in voice AI. But not a single enterprise can deploy them because they're fundamentally insecure. I've spoken to a dozen enterprise CISOs, and they're terrified of voice AI. Audio deepfakes, phishing, and adversarial audio attacks are an entirely new class of attack vectors for their security engineers to protect against. At Parakeet Security, we're building the security layer for voice AI. Our platform leverages a new class of audio attack detection algorithms to identify and protect any voice AI agent in real time as they take live calls. We have signed 9 design partners, including the Chief Information Security Officers at Allstate and Prudential. We have further signed pilots with 6 other companies and are already deployed at a NASDAQ-listed company. Nick and I, we're a genuinely unique founding team. We're twins. and we're both world-leading experts in audio AI. We both studied math at Columbia before completing our PhDs at Cornell, where we both patented AI algorithms to understand how humans process speech. We've also led global AI teams. I led HSBC's AI financial crime team, reducing their costs by over 80%. And Nick has led teams that combat fraud for some of the largest insurance companies in the world. For millennia, voice has been the dominant interface for human-to-human communication. In the next 5 years, it will become the dominant one for human-to-technology communication. And Parakeet will secure it. Thank you.
Well, I think both a mic drop moment and a glass smash moment. Right, up next, we have Arushi, who's going to be pitching Ressl. And we love founders who have weird obsessions. And Arushi was obsessed with CRMs. There aren't many people in their early 20s who are obsessed by CRMs. And she has already built and sold a CRM. So let's welcome Arushi to the stage.
Hi, we're Ressl AI, and we're killing Accenture. For every single dollar a company spends on Salesforce licenses, they spend 3 times of that on implementation services. Take our customer. They spent 1 whole year migrating to Salesforce. And when they finally went live, it kept breaking. This is a function of poor implementation by outsourced consultants. At Ressl AI, we're fixing this. We are an AI-enabled services firm replacing traditional IT consultants with intelligent coding agents. Our technology encodes the expertise of world-class Salesforce architects into proprietary knowledge graph. This enables us to do work which would have previously taken 2 weeks in just 2 hours. Since the 8 weeks of our launching, Ressl AI has already crossed 100K in ARR across our 2 customers. And we've identified the right wedges for agentic implementation. Think help desk, upgrades, migrations. This is how we prioritize a BPO. I'm Arushi Gandhi. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Ressl AI. I spent my undergrad building, selling, and deploying CRMs across 12 VC firms. I understand what customers want out of their Salesforce instance. My co-founder, Abhishek, graduated from IIT Bombay, the best university in India. He worked on AI research in collaboration with Google, and the products he built there now power India's top government agencies. Together, Ressl AI will own every single dollar spent on IT services in the next 5 years. Come talk to us. Thank you.
So we all know the best founders will go to the ends of the earth to do customer development. Our next team, the founders went to a live war zone. Let's bring on Colin to explain more. Colin, welcome.
Right now, in Ukraine, 6,000 miles away, 3 million robots are duking it out. We went there to see it. Warfare is changing. What we also saw is that the robots aren't working as a team. Essentially, they work alone. At Mutable Tactics, we're changing that. We're developing masterminds to orchestrate robotic teams. Our secret? Probabilistic ML. Our AI doesn't just react, it reasons, thinks in probabilities, makes smarter choices. Multi-agent design. We build for teamwork from day one. Full Avengers mode, no solo heroes. Physical AI. Masterminds are built to interact with the physical world, designed for edge compute and commercial sensors. My co-founder, Enrique, is a world leader in multi-agent systems. He pioneered the field of adversarial ML, collaborating with BA Systems and MBDA. He is one of 10 people on the planet with this expertise. He is the only one applying it to defense. I've been both a software CEO and a soldier. At 24, I was leading infantrymen in Iraq. I understand warfighters because I've been one, though I have had a shave and a haircut since then. We've already shown that we can win. We beat 75 companies, including defense primes, to win a NATO-Ukraine counter-drone challenge. This is addressing a $15 billion defense priority. No one understands the drone threat better than Ukrainians. They chose our solution. They see what we see. Talent does too. We've already lined up a world-class team from companies like Amazon Robotics and ARM. Now, we start in defense because that's where the robots are today. But this goes way beyond that. Dark factories, robotic farms, autonomous logistics, they'll all require what we're building. At Mutable Tactics, we'll decide who wins the robotic era. Join us.
So next up, we scour Europe for the very best potential founder talent. And our next founder, he actually set up Palantir's office in Poland. Let's welcome Lucas to the stage.
I'm a machine learning PhD who led AI teams at Palantir. I got the highest possible scholarship at Columbia. I founded an AI startup and worked with dozens of clients. And I can tell you that when the model works, nobody is asking how. But when it doesn't, it can shave billions of your market cap. Because of this, hallucinations and reliability issues have been destroying business value. Sales, healthcare, finance, all bleeding customers because the ChatGPT API they hit decided to hallucinate. Wisent already solved that. We give you the power to augment and identify internal structures inside the AI brain. Our first product blocks nearly half of all hallucinations, performing 7 times better than the next best alternative on Truthful QA, the most challenging hallucination benchmark. We do this by pioneering a new branch of AI research called representation engineering. No one has made a greater contribution to representation engineering than me. My papers on this have been published in top machine learning conferences like NeurIPS. However, we're not just conducting research. We've already deployed this tech in the real world. Just in the last 2 weeks, we got over 50,000 downloads and over 300 GitHub stars on our open source software. Our users have been deploying this product in leading AI labs, enterprises, and fast-growing startups. This is only the beginning. Our new prototypes are outperforming state-of-the-art models on maths and coding benchmarks. All this with no training needed. We add new capabilities as vectors in the latent space. I didn't come here to take part in wasting your money on AI compute like everybody else. I came to take over the thoughts of LLMs and make Wisent the #1 player on the AI market. Thank you.
So our next founder, Iseline, has been coding since she was a child. And in fact, she helped to optimize the map that the Paris firemen use to track their trucks when she was 8. It's still in use today. It's not what she's going to be pitching today. No firemen, unfortunately. Let's welcome Iseline.
Hi, I am Iseline. At Amazon, I spent 2 entire weeks chasing one single bug. I couldn't find it. I had to learn a new programming language to completely rebuild the program. 2 more weeks, gone. 1 bug equals 1 month of salary. And AI is only going to make it worse. 10 times more code, 100 times more bugs. Solve this, and you unlock a $160 billion market. If you've used coding agents, you know it. They try to guess what might go wrong before the code runs. This cannot work because real bugs don't show up until runtime. At Ariana, we don't guess. We are building a holistic observability engine that automatically fixes bugs. No more investigating bugs, no more instrumentation, and no more testing wrong hypotheses. My co-founder, Anissé, has 10 years of experience in system programming. He optimized black hole detection algorithms at the European Space Agency. It takes this level of expertise to trace code execution while maintaining the highest level of performance. In less than 6 weeks, we got 1,500 users who collectively generated 8 million logs. Today, they use us in a code editor. Tomorrow, they will program directly on Ariana. AI coding tools made us a promise. No more barrier between idea and execution. They failed to deliver. We, at Ariana, make it work. Thank you.
When we're helping founders come up with ideas and develop their early ideas, often they go back to some of their early experiences of working alongside their family. And that's very much true for Sudhanshu, our next founder. Age 14, he was helping his dad, who had a third-party logistics provider company. And he couldn't believe how inefficient the freight forwarding process was and how much admin there was connected to it. He's now solving that problem. Let's welcome Sudhanshu.
Freight forwarders process $300 billion of revenue over emails and phone calls manually every single year. But because their workspaces look like this, every single freight forwarding company is losing over 30% potential revenue. We are building Sidecar, a 24/7 virtual AI teammate for freight forwarders. Our AI teammates bring API-level functionality to their legacy systems. They work completely autonomously over carrier websites and software applications. We are currently running 4 paid pilots that would translate to $180K in annual revenue. We have 15 companies in our late-stage pipeline, and we closed one of them this very morning. For one of our first pilot customers, we have quadrupled our customers' ability to respond to inbound quote requests, helping them make 35% more potential revenue within just 1 month. I am Sudhanshu. I experienced this problem firsthand when I was brokering freight for my father's 3PL business at just 14 years of age. After graduating from IIT Kharagpur, I was part of the founding team at a Series A enterprise AI company, while my co-founder Akshat graduated top of his class from IIT Delhi Computer Science. His AI solutions today power multi-billion-dollar clinical trial decisions at J&J and Merck. There were 100 million knowledge workers employed across the global supply chain. Soon, Sidecar AI teammates will be the only employee you would want to hire. Thank you.
So I've been told by 3 separate people not to make this joke. So let's see how this goes. So our next company, I can't get enough of. It's an egg company. Welcome, Yash.
Hi, I'm Yash, and I'm the CEO of the Bland Company. Eggs aren't just for breakfast. 1/3 of all eggs go into food manufacturing. That's $100 billion worth of eggs. From pasta to cakes to sauces, eggs make the products you know and love work. But in the last 5 years, supply chains have broken, and food manufacturers are scrambling for alternatives. They're yet to find one that delivers on both cost and performance. Well, until now. At the Bland Company, we've built a proprietary biochemical process that restructures plant proteins to deliver egg-like function. Our first product is derived from rice bran, a byproduct that accounts for 10% of all rice production. By combining this cheap raw material with our low-cost process, we significantly undercut the cost of eggs and deliver supply chain stability. In just 6 months, we've started trials with 2 of the world's largest food companies to replace eggs in their top-selling products. Full deployment with just one of these customers is worth $90 million a year. We are repeat founders with a shared obsession of enabling sustainable and delicious eating globally. This is my 3rd venture bringing novel ingredients to the market. My co-founder, Nicole, is a biochemist from Columbia University who previously led food science and product development at her last startup. Egg is just the beginning. We're building a portfolio of powerful, clean-label protein ingredients, all unlocked through our novel bioprocess. But talk is cheap, and tasting is believing. So come by our table later and taste why the future will be bland. Thank you.
So the CTO of our next team led a research trip to the Himalayas to find dancing proteins. Let's welcome Ajitesh on stage.
Locksmith Bio is here to design the treatment for incurable diseases such as cancer and Alzheimer's. And these diseases are still incurable because of the mysterious nature of the proteins that cause them. Take P53 as an example. The single protein's mutation causes over 50% of all cancers. And current tools like AlphaFold capture such proteins as static snapshots. But in realities, proteins dance, constantly shifting shape, making it extremely difficult to develop novel drugs. And this lack of dynamic protein behavior is the single biggest data bottleneck in drug discovery. Until now, at Locksmith, we have repurposed a biophysical tool, sort of like a video camera, to capture proteins in motion. Our full-stack approach processes clinical samples through our tool to generate proprietary dynamic protein behavior data that gets fed into a state-of-art AI model to design novel drugs, which we will be co-developing with Big Pharma. In just 3 months, we have assembled a world-class team of scientific and commercial advisors and gathered significant interest from leading pharma, which includes enrollment in Sanofi's innovation program. As founders, we are obsessed with these proteins. I'm Ajitesh, a clinician scientist with PhD in dynamic proteins, and I have discovered a new tuberculosis drug during my PhD, while my co-founder Yash is a computational biologist and has previously led a Stanford-funded expedition in search of these proteins. As our first asset, we are developing a P53 drug for small cell lung cancer, a $10 billion opportunity in itself. And as we expand to other diseases driven by the dynamic proteins, we aim to unlock the next GLP-1 moment in oncology. Thank you very much.
Our next founder, Kelvin, we met in Toronto more than a year ago. And he gave my team a tour of the self-driving car workshop that he'd built. My team were blown away. I'm sure you'll be blown away by what he's built since then. Let's welcome Kelvin to the stage.
At the advent of television, something was missing: color. Today, something's still missing. Television needed color, and now it needs the third dimension. Our world is three-dimensional. Our media should be as well. Peripheral Labs is adding the missing third dimension. We take regular cameras and generate immersive, interactive, volumetric videos. It's the future of media, and we're starting with live sports. Imagine watching your favorite sports team, not just courtside, but on the court itself. Sports leagues like the NBA, the NFL, La Liga, they've been wanting this technology for years, but the tech just wasn't there. Thanks to our unique research experience, in just 6 months, we've developed a proprietary, spatially intelligent computer vision model that's able to generate volumetric video at arena scales. I'm Kelvin, and I met my co-founder Mustafa building Formula race cars at the University of Toronto. I've just dropped out of my master's, where I was researching computer vision models with General Motors. Mustafa graduated with top publications in this exact technology: foundational models and 3D reconstruction. Last year, we led a team of 100 engineers to completely sweep and dominate an international autonomous driving competition. We're currently negotiating 6-figure partnerships with the second biggest MMA league and the Canadian sports company that owns the Toronto Raptors and the Toronto Maple Leafs. We just partnered with NBC Sports and got NBA approval for a demo with the Sacramento Kings. Peripheral is going to transform the entirety of the $50 billion market that is interactive live sports. Television today is going to seem like the black and white of yesterday. The future of media is three-dimensional, and Peripheral Labs is here to create it.
I know we're all focused on AI right now, but apps are still big business. $400 billion of revenue was generated through apps last year. Our next founder is completely obsessed with apps. Let's hear what he's built at Appstack. Welcome, Lucas.
Imagine being a business owner and not knowing whether you win or lose money each day. This is the reality for mobile app advertisers. I'm Lucas, and I spent over 5 years as the go-to person to advise top grossing apps with mobile measurement. And trust me when I say they have no idea which marketing efforts make more money. Until now, app measurement has been dominated by companies acting as middlemen, providing unreliable data, overpriced contracts, and limited analytics for advertisers like Duolingo. But Apple's new privacy rules broke the old attribution system overnight. But their new API is too complicated for anyone without deep expertise. With my co-founder Tom, an exceptional machine learning engineer, we're building Appstack, the first measurement tool that provides apps with rock-solid data and unique insights on how they can make more money. Let me show you how it works.
Appstack users complete the integration in under 5 minutes with no SDK required. Out-of-the-box real-time analytics to help advertisers make better marketing decisions. It connects seamlessly to the tools your app already uses. Let AI tell you where to invest. Appstack turns data into decisions. Appstack, measurement you can trust.
We have over 250 apps on the waitlist, which will be worth more than $1 million to Appstack when they close. We raised from over 20 top-tier operators in the space, including the head of apps at Google. Collectively, they give us access to more than 100 mobile applications. We're building the future one app at a time. Thank you.
So we have a site in India and are always constantly impressed by the quality of talent in India. And you'll see many of the founders come from the IITs. Now, these are some of the most competitive universities in the world. They normally have more than 1 million applicants. The CTO of our next company, he got the gold medal at his IIT. This means he was the #1 student in his year. Let's welcome Reflolabs to the stage.
Last month, I ordered 3 pairs of jeans in different sizes. I kept one, and I returned 2. No big deal, right? Not for brands. Across America, returns have reached $900 billion annually. For Walmart alone, that's over $100 billion in return products. How do we know this? Because my co-founder, Abhay, literally built Walmart's return software. He's a published AI researcher and graduated as the best technologist with a gold medal from IIT. I also graduated from the same campus before becoming a PM at WhatsApp. At just 23, I was managing multi-million-dollar supply chain budgets for Procter & Gamble. Remember those 2 jeans I returned? It can cost up to $15 to process each one. It's manual, slow, and expensive. Our AI can grade and route returns 50 times faster in just 5 seconds with over 95% accuracy. We are in late-stage conversations with 3 major marketplaces processing over 2 million items a year. One of those literally started using our product this morning. For our pilot customer, a leading branded reseller, returns are their #1 barrier to growth. Their CEO told us they could 5x their number of customers if they could just process products faster. We are Reflolabs, the only company giving you returns on returns.
So next up, another founder from one of the great IITs in India, this time IIT Madras, which we think is a really interesting new talent cluster, producing some of the world's best entrepreneurs. You may know that the founder of Perplexity is from IIT Madras. They've got an incredible team coming up next. Let's welcome Sai from Autoset.
Picture this. It's 2 a.m. and your AI security yells, "Car break-in." You jolt awake, but it's just a cat. You mute the system, and you let a real burglar get away. AI systems are limited by the data they are trained on. While burglary is common, training data is not. Computer vision teams will spend $20 billion a year on data, and that still won't be enough. Now, synthetic data has been the age-old promise, but today's techniques don't make the cut. Now, remember this video? That's not real. We made it at Autoset. At Autoset, we deliver targeted domain-specific data sets like this. Our diffusion models with visual chain of thought reasoning, achieve unlimited variants with 12 times the realism. AI teams can now launch not in months, but days. Within 8 weeks, we have a $70,000 contract and 5 prospects in pipeline. Our CTO, Aditya, is a computer vision wizard. His 3 years diffusion research forms the backbone of our product. Dev, our CPO, graduated from IIT Bombay and built data pipelines managing terabytes of data at Goldman Sachs. I am Sai. I've worked at Turing awardee Yoshua Bengio's Mila Lab and deployed AI agents at PayPal. Autoset will become the default data infrastructure powering all AI modalities, redefining how the world builds AI. Thank you.
So we run hackathons all around Europe to try and unearth the best talent. And we often do this in partnership with companies like Mistral or Hugging Face. Our next team won one of the EF hackathons in Madrid, where they were the standout team. We met them 6 months ago, been working with them ever since. Let's welcome Vera and Diego to the stage.
Meet Mark. Mark and his partner manage more than 20 vacation rentals across Europe. They were sending each other 40 messages per day just to remotely operate check-ins and check-outs. Instead of hiring employees to do this, they hired us, vertical AI agents for property management.
What used to take hours now takes minutes. Our AI agent lives in their pockets while it's messaging guests. But it's not just messaging. It's building personal relationships with every guest. And by controlling the messages, we're able to perform high-converting upsells.
These upsells can grow revenue by more than 10%. And yet, no hosts are taking advantage of it because they're drowning in operations. Our upsell agents alone have the potential to generate over $14 billion in additional revenue.
We're currently in private beta with the top 1% of hosts, and we're already seeing strong results. We successfully converted upsells and have achieved 80% autonomy with our AI agents.
Diego and I go fast. We've co-founded before, and both of us have experience in deploying AI agents in production. Both of our families have short-term rentals, making this problem close to home. The vacation rentals you'll be visiting tomorrow will be run autonomously by APMI, personalizing every single guest experience at scale. Thank you.
So the next team that we have pitching, Sartor, Jemima and Dan, this is one of those great co-founding moments where Jemima was in our Paris program and Dan was in our London program. And when they read about each other's profiles, they knew that they needed to meet. The founder-idea fit and the combination of their backgrounds was so strong. Let's welcome Jemima to the stage. Welcome, Jemima.
In just 3 years, the influencer Matilda Jerf turned 3 million followers into a $35 million fashion brand. Across the US, there are tens of thousands of fashion influencers sitting on gold mines, eager to capitalize on the $300 billion fashion social commerce market. But launching a fashion brand is hard. We spoke with influencers who have spent years and thousands of dollars trying and failing to get their brands off the ground. Now, they're coming to us, With Sartor, influencers can access a team of AI agents to launch and operate their brands across design, sourcing, and logistics. Meet Max, our first influencer partner. With Sartor, he was able to launch his brand and generate 20K in sales in just the first weekend. In 3 months, we've secured 10 influencer partners with a combined following of over 16 million consumers. Within the next year, these partners are projected to generate millions in sales for them and over $1 million in revenue for us. And that's not to mention the other 77 influencers eager to join our platform. To deliver on this demand, we've built a vetted manufacturing network spanning Latin America, Asia, and Europe. I'm Jemima, a repeat fashion tech founder who grew up working for my mother's fashion brand. I have industry experience at Tommy Hilfiger, Selfridges, and Net-a-Porter, as well as in AI startups. My co-founder, Dan, is an AI engineer who built cutting-edge supply chain optimization systems and published a paper on this topic at ICML. The next billion-dollar fashion brand will be built by an influencer and powered by Sartor.
You may have noticed there are a bunch of cybersecurity teams in this batch. We think it's a really important and interesting area to build right now. Our next founder joined us from the technology security team at Rand. Let's give Alexi a massive welcome.
My co-founder, Zainab, she once responded to a cyber attack for a huge company. Many of you will have heard of it. It took them 9 months to even notice there had been a breach. It took them another 5 months to respond to it. Critical IP was stolen. They lost tens of millions. The reason it took so long is that the response team had to manually dig through 50 million logs. This manual forensic analysis is the key bottleneck in incident response today. We at Deep Response, we build AI agents that automate forensic analysis and respond to cyber incidents. Our first product responds to email breaches. The forensic analysis takes humans 2 days. It takes our agent 5 minutes. Of the 14 customers that have seen our demo, not a single one has dropped out of our pipeline. One of these customers is a VP at a multi-billion-dollar cybersecurity firm. He told us, you will become the industry standard. And before we even finished building the product, he asked about acquiring us. Yeah, it happened. When we said no, we switched to negotiating a $300K deal with them. This is only possible because of the rare combined skill set on our founding team. I've led AI programs at Rand. I spun out an Oxford AI group into what is now one of the world's leading AI think tanks. And I've worked as an AI engineer or software engineer. My co-founder, Zainab, she was the top UK analyst at a leading incident response firm. She wrote that firm's handbook on email breaches. And she published 2 papers in Europe's within 6 months of starting to work on AI. Every year, there are over 1 million cyber breaches. Deep Response is going to respond to all of them. Thank you.
So our next founder has been building open source software since he was a kid and has more than 3 million installs to prove that. Let's welcome Sidecar to the stage.
Everyone is selling you productivity, but all they have delivered is digital whiplash. An average knowledge worker juggles over 15 apps a day. trying to find a single piece of information is a nightmare. We are building Amurex, the invisible AI companion that remembers, thinks, and shapes itself around you. And the key? We are building this open source. The only way to scale both trust and personalization. Open source enables Amurex to integrate with your existing tooling, capture knowledge across your meetings and emails, and search universally across your entire software life. Gathering all of this context positions us to become the first hyper-personalized AI butler, which will be serving all of the 1.2 billion knowledge workers in the world. And users are already obsessed. We have over 2,500 stars on GitHub, over 4,000 active users, with our user base doubling every month. And we achieved all of that in 3 months. My co-founder, Arsen, was the youngest person ever to discover a solution to the three-body problem, before creating one of the fastest retrieval algorithms in the world. And he's only 19. And I am Sanskar, the creator of the fastest Python web framework, which has scaled to over 3 million installs, while also scaling machine learning infra at Bloomberg. The future of AI is personal and open source. Less than 6 teenagers have open source projects with over 1 million installed. I was one. Arsen will be next. Together, we are not just writing software. At the Personal AI Company, we are reimagining personalization. Thank you.
So Patty, the CTO of our next company, before EF, she was building swarms of robotic fish and robotic snakes to explore underwater on new planets with JPL. She's now building for this planet. Let's hear what she and Jean are building. Welcome Bubble to the stage.
Meet Chris, lead of operations at Ocean Wind, one of the leading offshore operators in the world and a first customer. Chris burns $3 million a year on subsea inspection. Yet, 83% of his failures still happen underwater. Vessels and divers cost up to $200,000 a day. And because of that, Chris only inspects twice a year during the perfect weather window. It means delayed action, broken cables, and millions in production losses. Over 1,500 wind farms face the same situation. And by 2030, this will be a $100 billion problem across every offshore industries. But tools have been stuck in 1975.
But we're changing that. Now, in 2025, with NVIDIA, Corey here, our first robot, can operate autonomously. Starlink enables her to be activated from pretty much anywhere on Earth. At Bubble Robotics, we're bringing physical AI to the seas. Imagine constellations of autonomous systems living underwater 24/7 for up to years. No more costly ships and crew. We deploy fleets of smart, self-charging robots delivering the right AI-driven insight at the right time. That way we find problems before they become failures.
And it's already happening. In just 7 weeks, we cracked docking, underwater charging, and data analysis. And we signed more than $3.8 million in pre-purchase commitment from leading offshore wind operators. With us, Chris is turning his $3 million yearly cost into a $1.5 million Bubble subscription, 70% margin for us, and millions in revenue captured for him. I'm Jean, CEO of Bubble Robotics, and I know what makes a great startup. I backed more than 40 million in deep tech venture capital deals, founded and scaled a B2B startup, and led growth at a Microsoft-acquired company.
And I'm Patty, the CTO, and I know how to tackle a technical challenge. I've worked on NASA's balloon robots to Venus, F1 car aerodynamics, and AI-powered robodogs at ETH Zurich. The 21st century will be decided offshore, from cheap energy to national security. By capturing the world's largest underwater data set, Bubble Robotics will power the autonomous workforce for the ocean. Thank you.
So our next team has an interesting founding story. So we were working with Valentin, and we wanted to introduce him to Antoine to do some customer discovery. And it didn't really go as planned. Antoine didn't become his customer, he became his co-founder. Let's see what they're building. Welcome to Solight.
Everyone is focused on generating code faster. But shipping code fast does not mean shipping products fast. To deliver delightful products, PMs still spend tens of hours per week on manual QA testing, weeks on usability testing, and months on A/B testing. These have one thing in common: replicating or observing user behavior. Solight is an automated testing platform powered by user simulations. With no setup, our AI agents understand an application's context and navigate like users would. Within minutes, we uncover bugs and opportunities for UX optimization. No manual QA, no recruiting users, no inconclusive A/B tests. Product teams can finally ship products, not just code, fast. We went from idea to 10 design partners in just 6 weeks, including the second largest ticketing platform in the world. By automating their QA, they will now ship products 30% faster, making product development so much more effective is a $60 billion opportunity. And we're here to seize it. As a PM myself, I used CodeGen to not only manage, but build products that drove $8 million in annual revenue and helped win media deals worth $200 million. My co-founder, Valentin, was the first employee and lead AI engineer at one of France's fastest growing startups. There, he helped build AI products at hyperspeed. But once again, releases were bottlenecked by quality. That's why we're building Solight. Ship products, not code, fast.
Jay, our next CEO who's coming on to talk, we found on the BITS Pilani campus, which is one of the best technical universities in India. It's about a 5-hour drive from Delhi. And they're building a really interesting space cluster there. And when we met Jay, he was working on satellites for Pixel, which is one of the breakout space companies in India. Let's welcome Jay, who's going to talk to us about Aule.
Let me take you all to space, but before that, picture this. You are driving an expensive car. The fuel runs out, and now you have to abandon it, but forever. This is how satellites worth over $100 billion are operated in the geo orbit today. They are abandoned prematurely only due to one reason: fuel depletion. This has been the case for a long time. So why was it not solved yet? Well, servicing missions designed before were too expensive because of complex hardware, non-scalable algorithms, and high launch costs. And all of this has changed now. We are Aule Space, and we are developing jetpacks for satellite life extension. We do so at 10x lower costs by integrating computer vision, electric propulsion, and satellite-agnostic docking. Our jetpacks will autonomously dock and extend the life of satellites, unlocking up to $1 billion in additional revenue per satellite. And there are hundreds of these up there. I have built 6 of the world's highest resolution satellites at Pixel, which sells imagery to the US Department of Defense. Nitya has deployed EV charging infrastructure for the world's largest two-wheeler manufacturer. Ressl has built communication systems with the European Space Agency. We have advisors from the Indian Space Research Organization and SpaceX. In just 3 months, we have already designed our jetpacks working with the leading geo-satellite operators and autonomously docked prototypes on our zero-gravity testbeds. We are on track to launch into space in 6 months. We are developing the building blocks for the thriving in-space economy. Come, dock to us.
So the question on all of your lips, I'm sure, is what happens when you combine a Palantir veteran with one of the best emerging AI security experts in the world? You get HelmGuard. Welcome them to the stage.
Good afternoon. During my decade at Palantir Technologies, I saw firsthand how AI can transform industries while co-leading their largest cybersecurity deployment and helping bring to market the leading B2B AI platform.
I've spent my career researching and building secure AI systems. At 19, I wrote an AI algorithm that was acquired by a quantum chemistry company, and by 21, I'd written over 10 papers. We've seen the future through these experiences and are rethinking cybersecurity from AI-first principles because we know that legacy approaches simply aren't sufficient.
Offensive AI capabilities are scaling exponentially, yet our defense is bottlenecked on manual cyber services, an $80 billion per year market. This demands a new playbook.
We founded HelmGuard to meet this moment by productizing cybersecurity services. Our platform captures deep institutional context, applies AI-powered reasoning that matches elite security experts, and delivers validated outcomes on demand, automating complex workflows existing tools can't touch.
Let me give you a real example. At a current private equity client, we now deliver cyber assessments that used to take days in under 15 minutes. Deal teams can now evaluate cybersecurity risks with unprecedented speed and depth, bringing critical security intelligence to investment decisions when and where it matters most.
In month 1 after launch, we completed 3 months of consulting work in just 3 days. In month 2, we doubled LLM performance through key data partnerships. In month 3, we have a pipeline of 5 enterprise customers tracking towards 6-figure deals.
The future of security is not more software tools or more consultants. It's scalable, super intelligent systems operationalizing expertise. HelmGuard is that system, and we invite you to join us in building it. Thank you.
So next up, we have Arno from Voltaback. We met him last year when he was at Stanford, and it became clear that he was completely obsessed with EVs. Let's bring him on stage to hear what he has to say. Welcome, Arno.
European electric vehicle fleet managers are losing $60 billion per year. They are facing exploding electricity costs because their employees are charging at public stations where electricity is 10 times more expensive than at the driver's home. So why are employees not charging at home? Because for the fleet managers to reimburse his employees, tracking who charged which car in which home and at what cost is nearly impossible. At Voltaback, we are turning this expense reimbursement nightmare into a seamless and asset-light experience. We connect to the EV battery and use our unique algorithms to calculate the exact cost of every single charge. My name is Arnaud, and together with my co-founder, Adrien, we graduated from Stanford and MIT, where we developed the battery models and optimization algorithm required to build this product. After only a few months, we managed to sign 1,500 vehicles, paying $100,000 for our solution, and 15,000 extra EVs will be onboarded before the end of the year, thanks to our design partners. And now is the perfect moment to lock them in. Our customers are getting more and more EVs every year. And as a consequence, each contract value will grow 5x in the next 5 years. Now, think. Once our customers will be fully electric, we will be connected to thousands of batteries, not only tracking electrons, but also deciding when they go from the grid to the car or from the car to the grid. Those assets will become an actual virtual power plant operated by us. We will schedule charges at the most profitable moment and will be paid for trading electricity on the grid. Join us to build the first electron management platform for EVs. Thank you.
I'm sure we have many parents in the room like me, and our next team answers the question that many of us struggle with: to use screens or not to use screens? Well, InteractionLabs removes that question. Let's welcome them to the stage.
Kids spend too much time on screens. And Tony's proved there is a massive demand for screen-free toys. Today, they're making $500 million a year by letting kids listen to pre-recorded stories from their favorite characters, like Simba or Woody. Tomorrow, InteractionLabs will allow kids not only to listen, but also to talk and interact with their favorite characters thanks to our AI-powered toys. And this creates a massive opportunity. AI companions that bond and grow with users over years unlock recurring revenue. $20 a month, 400,000 subscribers, that's what we need to make $100 million a year. I'm Karim, and with my co-founder Julien, we're two AI researchers creating a completely new class of AI companions. But it takes more than just ChatGPT in a box to create that magical spark that draws children back to our AI day after day, to create a true AI companion. And so we uncovered two essential truths. The first one is empathy. The AI has to understand the child emotionally, and we're building a groundbreaking tech that reads emotional cues from the voice with the help of our advisor, Mikhail Valko, one of the very best AI researchers in the world, who previously led the team that created Llama 3 at Meta. The second important truth is stories. Our characters, just like real friends, have stories that unfold gradually, revealing new dimensions with each interaction. And so we hired Alex Sokolow, Oscar-nominated writer who made Toy Story with Steve Jobs, not as an advisor, but as our chief creative officer. We already have a private beta with parents paying us to test early versions of our prototypes and more than 5,000 interactions between AI and users. AI is a new creative medium, and InteractionLabs is building the Pixar of AI companions. Thanks.
So when we're helping people find their co-founder, we push them to think about what is the optimal co-founder for them, rather than the co-founder of convenience who just happens to be available at the time. Now, Victor, the CTO of our next team, A51, when we met him, he actually already had a co-founder. We then introduced him to Marina, and he made the upgrade. Let's welcome Marina to stage. A51.
What is the #1 area of interest for pharma companies today? Autoimmune disease. There are 300 million patients needing recurrent treatment, and this $200 billion market is massively underserved. The drugs that are present on the market today don't cut it. After a few years, 50% of patients quit their meds because they either don't work or they cause tremendous side effects. At A51, we are developing new generation of RNA therapeutics. These are the autoimmune disease drugs of the future. To tackle the multifactorial nature of these complex diseases, we recreate evolution in the lab to deliver the best possible drug. Our R&D process is fast. We already developed our first RNA molecule, which proves the power of our proprietary AI and wet lab approach. We signed 2 letters of intent with AstraZeneca and Servier that are now being converted to pilot projects. Our advisors are top RNA experts and drug hunters from institutions such as Harvard, MD Anderson, and AstraZeneca. My name is Marita. I'm a multi-awarded computational biophysicist who advised global pharma leaders at McKinsey. I also led an EU tech bio project on genetic programming. My co-founder and CTO, Victor, developed molecular evolution technology that's already licensed in biotech. He's the expert in RNA engineering and high-throughput screening. Join us because together we will deliver the next generation of RNA drugs. Thank you.
Our next founder, Aman, built trading tech at some of the world's best HFT firms, and he was processing more than $1 billion of volume every single day. He used the insights from that to build Unsiloed. Let's welcome him to the stage.
What do Goldman Sachs and Barclays have in common? Obviously, apart from the fact that both are investment banks. Well, they both have AI engineers who are already using Unsiloed's open source models. Hi, I'm Aman, and we are building vision language models for finance. Financial firms run on unstructured data, like SEC filings, investor decks, and broker reports. AI teams at these firms try hard to unlock this data. They spend more than 6 months building document-based workflows. But less than 10% of it rarely make it to production. Even the best horizontal solutions out there don't work. We solve this problem. Unsiloed AI turns months into minutes. Our verticalized vision language model understands complex financial documents and extracts structured metrics with more than 90% accuracy, 15x beta latency, all within minutes with 0 fine-tuning. We are already beating solutions like Unstructured and Reducto on public benchmarks. In just 8 weeks, we landed a pilot at a Fortune 150 bank. We are already live at a NASDAQ-listed insurer, which is the largest in US in its category. We have $60,000 in signed contracts and more than 10 enterprises in our pipeline. I'm Aman, and I have built AI co-pilots for companies like Goldman Sachs, Charles Schwab, and Bank of Montreal in my previous role. I have built trading systems which used to manage more than $1 billion of trading volume each day at a quant firm. My co-founder Adnan was a researcher at MIT. He had built and deployed multimodal models at Fortune 10 companies. Together, we are a rare intersection of deep finance and deep AI. Financial firms run on unstructured data, and we make that data accessible. Thank you.
Our next CEO, Finn, we met when he was in Ireland. It's an amazing team. Let's welcome them to the stage.
Unplanned maintenance bankrupts airlines. Grounding just a single aircraft can cost an airline $150,000 every single hour. No, you did not just hear me wrong. That is per aircraft, per hour. And this problem, it's only getting worse. Airlines are short 700,000 Skilled maintenance engineers needed to keep aircraft flying. This shortage, it is driving unplanned maintenance and badly hurting airline growth. I'm Finn, the CEO of Fleetcraft, and after winning awards for developing Ireland's first 2 satellites, I turned down a job at Boeing's manufacturer to solve this problem. My co-founder, Amar, he helped found an airline, and they left millions of dollars of revenue on the table because they didn't have the manpower to maintain their own fleet. Amar, he's also a world-class machine learning engineer from Oxford, and he built our first product, which combines unstructured maintenance data with regulatory directives to make critical maintenance decisions in seconds, saving months of unplanned downtime. These past 14 weeks, Amar and I have spent time with airlines in their hangars. We've launched trials with some of the largest airlines in the United States. We have a paid pilot for $60,000 with the world's largest seaplane operator, and work with a maintenance organization operating for some of the largest airlines in Europe. We've reduced their decision-making time by over 90%. Securing our first 4 customers, who manage 500 aircraft, will be $3 million in revenue. But given that there are more aircraft on order than have ever been made before, and not enough people to maintain our current stock, Fleetcraft will be essential in propelling the aviation industry into a new era of growth. Come aboard.
Okay, we're on to our penultimate team now. Now, I am actually just going to do some final announcements, because I know that when the last team pitches, there's normally a bit of a rush. We would like some audience involvement. If you are sat in sort of this part of the audience, when the final pitch is finished, and I will come back on stage, but I know you guys like to move fast, if you're sat over here, can you pick up your chair, fold it, and take it in that direction, so we can just try and make a little bit more space. Second public announcement is that we will have up on the screens where the startups will be standing. Now, founders, you know, are often sort of semi-delinquents, and they will be roving around, but they do have tables with their names on. So if you are trying to track them down, you should be able to find them there, and there will be a map that will help you find them. Now, our next founder, Alex, who's coming on stage, is another serial founder. And he said to me, this is the only thing that I could ever do. He's a founder through and through. Let's welcome Alex to the stage.
Hi, everyone. You're learning on a website. You want to buy that new software for your company. You fill out a form, and no one calls you back. This company, like most mid-market B2B services, has huge amount of inbound leads. But there isn't always a sales rep to call you back on time. AI sales rep sounds like the perfect solution. Wait, we've been hearing about them for the past 2 years. Are we late to the party? Let me tell you something. In 2024, 83% of teams that tried an AI SDR didn't get any deals from it. 0. Voice AIs should mean no more missed opportunities. But they are all missing the point. They are picking up the phone, but not converting. Because conversion doesn't come from LLM's general knowledge. It comes from detailed customization and a deep understanding of the prospect. This is what human sales do, and that's why we created Pyto. Me and my co-founder, Antoine, we are both repeat founders. I scaled my business to $6 million in revenue, while he built his to an 8-figure exit. At Pyto, we create custom voice AI that converts better than humans. Leveraging prospect data, we deliver a unique call experience that gets the best level of conversion at every company for every prospect. And it works. One of our customers is the biggest competitor to Square outside of the US, a 4,000 employees company selling to small businesses. We increased their inbound conversion by 53%. In 4 months, we deployed 3 paying customers, no churn, generating $375,000 in ARR globally. We're building a unique conversion data set and creating the highest conversion call automation in history. We are Pyto. Come join the party. Thank you.
Okay, it is the last pitch, and we're ending with a massive, massive idea. The next two founders, they're two of the youngest ever professors at Imperial and Oxford University, and have previously been backed by Bill Gates and Eric Schmidt. Let's welcome down to the stage.
The first paradigm of compute made compute quicker, unlocking the digital revolution, making Intel one of the most valuable companies in the world at the time. The second paradigm of compute made compute parallel, unlocking the AI revolution, which is making NVIDIA one of the most valuable companies in the world right now. When compute paradigms come, trillions of dollars follow. At Callosum, we are building the third multi-trillion-dollar paradigm of compute. The third paradigm that makes compute heterogeneous. Think VMware for heterogeneous compute. The software layer orchestrating heterogeneous hardware. The technology that gets us to the next decade of scaling intelligence for capabilities from physical to physical AI. From individual models capable of reasoning to orchestrated systems of fully distributed intelligence, orchestrating fleets of millions of increasingly intelligent robots, automating situational intelligence in our critical industries of defense in the West, and scaling our Nobel Prize-winning protein models from the micro scale to the macro scale to advance medicine. Yasha and I are the world leaders at the intersection of AI and hardware. And we've been tied to the hip since our PhDs at Cambridge University. We founded our first company in 2019, and we have worked with the best technology companies in the world, including Intel and Google DeepMind. We have been backed by the likes of Eric Schmidt and Bill Gates, and we have over 70 papers in the world's top journals, including Nature Machine Intelligence. It is our unique backgrounds that gave us the insight that this is the most valuable technology that you can be building right now. And we're working with the key players to make it happen. We are the global lead for algorithms on the Open Compute project for software-hardware co-design, and we're working with billion-dollar hardware vendors to make this happen who are desperate for our technology to exist. We are hiring the world's brightest minds out of the likes of Google DeepMind, Mila, and Imperial. When compute paradigms come, trillions of dollars are made, and the world changes. Callosum will own the third multi-trillion-dollar paradigm of compute to change the world again. Thank you.
Okay, that is a wrap. That is the full 32 companies. In your inbox, you will have a link to all of the information on the companies. We're going to try and do a rapid turnaround on the videos so you get access to those by tomorrow. That we have a team working, I think, on them as we speak. I do want to say a massive thank you, A, to all of you for coming, but B, most importantly, to the EF team and to the founders for doing such an enormous amount of hard work to build the companies and to be the amazing founders they are. So a big thank you to all of them. Please feel free to stay, join us for drinks, nibbles, and investing lots of cash. Thank you so much, everyone.